I don't know if she's even going to destroy Caitlin Clark long term. She's going to destroy Caitlin Clark short.
Wait, there's a problem. This was one of Caitlin Clark's worst games ever, and it looked like the entire team had forgotten how to play basketball. However, this might not be an isolated incident, and it may not just be about rust either. Fans are now uncovering something surprising, possibly tied to an old remark from Stephanie White herself. What we saw today raises serious questions.
Hey, what we seen displayed out there was a rude awakening to a bunch of fans. Stephanie White's style of coaching is not for Caitlin Clark.
And now things are beginning to make sense. This isn't the first time she has treated a superstar this way. What just came out changes everything, and you'll definitely want to see it. Something fell off with the Fever yesterday, and now it's all starting to come together.
Hey, what we seen displayed out there was a rude awakening to a bunch of fans. Stephanie White's style of coaching is not.
Things are starting to feel strange once more, but this time, fans weren't just let down. They were done. Many declared they'd never watch another Fever game again, saying things like, "I bought Clark's tickets, not this," and accusing the team of robbing them. These are actual comments found under the Fever's latest post. At the center of the storm is coach Stephanie White, who came in promising structure, chemistry, and wins, but instead delivered tension, confusion, and what some are calling outright sabotage. It's now painfully clear. Caitlin Clark's team is no longer the Fever. This is Stephanie White's system, and if you don't fit in, that's your problem. So, what exactly happened, and why are fans turning on her? The backlash stems from what many perceive as White's agenda against Clark. This isn't just about post-game comments or questionable game plans. Months ago, she revealed her perspective in a way that makes everything about the Clark situation click. In an earlier statement about Luka Doncic, White said, "The Mavericks simply play differently when Luka isn't playing. He is a man who uses a lot of dribbles. He's holding the ball. That ball is in motion when he is not on the ground. It's popping. All players are stepping up and participating in the action." That quote, though seemingly unrelated, now feels like a blueprint for how she views ball-dominant stars, and it's fueling a belief that her approach is incompatible with a player like Caitlin Clark.
Post also includes a quote from Mavs radio announcer, "Lower usage rate for..."
Stephanie White made that statement about Luka Doncic, the same Luka who recently led the Mavericks to the NBA Finals and was the league's top scorer in 2024. You can't make this up. She essentially said the Mavericks are better without him, which isn't just a bad take. It defies basic basketball logic. It's like claiming the Nuggets play better without Jokic or the Warriors are more dangerous without Steph Curry. Now let that sink in. This isn't just about Caitlin Clark anymore. This is where things get truly alarming. Stephanie White sees the game this way. It's her core philosophy, and that worldview is now directly impacting one of the biggest young stars in the sport.
That's all it is. That's all it is. Like, it is you can sucker punch a team once off. That's all you're going to get, though, is...
Stephanie White sees players who dominate the ball, true playmakers, not as assets, but as problems. If you don't fit neatly into her rigid system, you're out, and that mindset has already affected stars like Luka Doncic, who she once implied made his team worse despite leading the league in scoring and taking the Mavericks to the NBA Finals. Now, Caitlin Clark is facing the same issue. She's being misused, left to struggle without support, without touches, and without a system that plays to her strengths. On the court, she looks rushed, isolated, and out of sync, not because she's failing, but because the structure around her is. She has to fight for every point, gets little help on the break, and rarely sees the ball in the right spots. This isn't a Caitlin Clark problem, it's a coaching problem. The Fever sit at .500, Clark's shooting numbers are down, and her overall impact is shrinking under White's system. A good coach would adapt to generational talent, hand them the ball, and build around them, but White refuses to do that. The facts are clear. Just like the Mavericks struggle without Luka, the Fever lose their spark when Clark sits. The idea that more ball movement and unpredictability will replace star power is a myth. It might work in short bursts, but you don't build champions that way. You build them around your best player, someone like Caitlin Clark. But Stephanie White still doesn't see it, just like she didn't with Luka. If you need proof this isn't some outdated take, just look at last night. Clark returned and had one of her worst games of the season, not simply due to missed shots, but because the entire team looked lost.
Why?
Because nothing has changed, same coach, same flawed game plan, same system rooted in outdated thinking. And here's the reality. When you have a big three, at least two of them need to show up to even compete. Right now, they're not, because the system won't let them.
Right, so that means that one of the big threes always got another big three's back. Some games, like against the
To make a serious playoff run, you need all three stars firing on all cylinders, but instead, the Fever are treating a generational superstar like a benchwarmer. Caitlin Clark is being iced out of the offense, reduced to a fifth option, and it's not just bad coaching, it's intentional. That's the most alarming part. And now, with everything we've seen, the pieces are finally starting to fit together.
Stephanie White have an agenda. Her coaching style is influenced by her NC2A championship coach,
Carolyn Peake, Stephanie White's former coach, is now publicly claiming that the Fever are more dangerous without Caitlin Clark. Hold on, what? That's a shocking statement, but it sheds light on where White may have developed this bizarre basketball philosophy. The two have a long history. They won a championship together at Purdue, and Peake later joined White's staff at Vanderbilt. For years, they've shared the same ideology, prioritizing rigid systems over superstar talent. And to be honest, it's never worked. White's run at Vanderbilt was a disaster. She drove players out, the program collapsed, and nothing ever clicked.
Peck joins White's staff at Vanderbilt. By the way, she ran everybody out.
When people ask, why does Caitlin Clark look so uncomfortable? Why does it feel like the system is tearing her down? Well, now you know. The same issues haunting her in Indiana mirror Stephanie White's track record. At Vanderbilt, White posted back-to-back disaster seasons, 7-23, then 7-24. She later went 14-16, marginally better, but still far from successful. These numbers aren't just history. They're repeating themselves right now in Indiana. The pattern is clear. And while critics keep saying Caitlin needs to step up her game, the truth is she's trapped in a broken system, one that has never elevated stars, only buried them.
14-16, 7-24, 7-23.
Stephanie White. For the good of basketball, something has to change. Either she needs to coach less or coach smarter. Caitlin Clark could easily be putting up 25 and 12 every night, lighting it up from deep, leading the league in assists, and becoming the face of the WNBA in both production and branding. Instead, she's being reduced to a corner shooter, sprinting off the ball with no support in transition, logging empty minutes with no rhythm or control. This isn't player development, it's sabotage, plain and simple. And it doesn't matter whether White is considered a great coach. Let's connect the dots. She once claimed the Mavericks were better without Luka, and now she's running an offense that somehow functions better when Caitlin Clark is off the floor. See the pattern? This isn't about Clark's inexperience, her adjustment to the pro game, or needing more time. It's about a coach who genuinely believes that a motion-heavy offense filled with mid-range bricks and missed layups is more valuable than trusting a generational superstar. And that's exactly how you break a once-in-a-lifetime talent before she even has the chance to shine. The fans see it. Many just don't want to accept the truth.
Basketball, it has to be Stephanie White. For the good of basketball,
Because even if you're not a basketball analyst, you can feel what's happening. Caitlin Clark brings energy, creates space, and shifts the entire defense the moment she crosses half court. She's a game changer. Her presence alone forces opponents to adjust. And yet, what's the strategy? Bench her. Ignore her impact like it's 1999. Let others run the offense, while one of the most dynamic playmakers of a generation stands in the corner, underused and overlooked. It's not just baffling, it's backwards.
It doesn't matter if she's a great...
Clearly isn't team basketball, it's an ego game. Stephanie White is trying to make a point, but at what cost? Right now, she's not just hurting Caitlin Clark, she's damaging the entire league. Let me say it again. If you're watching, Caitlin is being broken by the system. If you agree that Stephanie White is dragging this team into mediocrity, drop a free Caitlin comment below. The fans are paying attention, and the front office needs to hear us loud and clear. I'm reaching out too. but I'll hold back from upsetting Caitlin herself. The only way things might change is if we, the fans, speak up online through videos, posts, and making enough noise so the front office can't ignore it. And don't forget to subscribe for more WNBA news and updates.